I'm gonna test the best sports car you can buy at every budget, starting from $10 all the way up to $100,000. Of course, starting with the first tier, $10,000. You have a few decent options at this level, but we all know there's only one right answer. A Mazda Miata. Now we'll be judging each car on 3 parameters: its looks, the driving experience, and what it says about you. As far as the aesthetic, Miatas just look fun. They look like a good time. It's not the sharpest, most aggressive looking car, but for what it is, it's a pretty clean, minimal design. I mean, just look at that smile. It looks happy to be here. And given that they weigh like 2,000 pounds and often come with a manual transmission, they also drive really fun. It feels like you're driving a go-kart on public roads. This thing is tiny. It doesn't have all that much power, but because of how light and small it is, it's still such a good time. As far as what it says about you, anyone who drives a fairly stock or tastefully modded Miata is a good time. They're a fun person to be around. The only caveat is the exhaust elite slammed subsect of Miata owners. Fellas, it's 11 p.m. on a school night. What are we doing? What would you rate your car?
10 out of 10.
Do you think others would agree?
Probably.
All right, we'll ask the next owner. At $20,000, your options really start to open up. And in this range, you can squeeze into one of the most iconic cars ever produced, the BMW E46 M3. I've personally owned one of these, so I might be a little biased, but looks-wise, it's kind of perfect. These cars have aged incredibly well. It's a timeless design that's a perfect mix of boxiness, aggression, and yet somehow it's still kind of elegant. Now, driving-wise, wow, it's brutally raw. There's no unnecessary assists of any kind. You can really feel the road in this car, and combined with a 50-50 weight distribution, you just feel planted. As much as I love this car, I also kind of absolutely hate it. I've owned 4 BMWs of this era, and they require a lot of maintenance. My M3 has, in fact, left me stranded on the side of the road. But you get a few good weeks without anything breaking, and it kind of becomes worth it. When I see someone in an E46 M3, I think of an individual with taste, someone who knows a little bit of ball. You're not in it to impress anyone. Realistically, most people on the road will just see this as an old BMW, and with how much maintenance these require, I think you have to be a bit of an enthusiast to own one. What would you rate this car?
Like a 7.
What would you rate your car?
11.
Do you think others would agree with that?
I think they would.
30 grand can get you into some modern BMWs, older Corvettes, but my pick would be the best Porsche Cayman you can find. Pristine first generation manual Caymans trade at this price point all day. But if you're willing to risk it on a sketchy Carfax or a higher mileage one, you can squeeze into a second gen 981 like this one here. And man, I love how these look. It's a classic silhouette, very premium, sporty styling. Even the first gen 987 ones, they look great. Inside, it's a modern car. It has all the features you'd expect, but it's not new enough to where you have a bunch of screens everywhere. And with it being a Porsche, it does feel very premium. Now, the driving experience might not blow your mind, but it's kind of exactly what you'd expect out of a car like this. It's mid-engine, the handling is fantastic, and the transmission is super quick. It's not fast in a straight line, but you combine everything together, and it's a very well-balanced car. It doesn't really fall short anywhere.
Yo, it's actually like so slow.
Well, I guess other than in a straight line. However, the Cayman does carry some stigma, with some calling it the poor man's Porsche. And to that, I would say, worry about your own bag, bro. But also, yeah, some people might buy this because it's the cheapest way to flex a Porsche, but I wouldn't let them ruin it for you. Porsche Cayman, completely underrated. What would you rate this car?
Nice. I would give it a solid 7.
And what would you rate your car?
6.5. Not enough power, but handles well.
Can I say something without everyone getting mad? This one is a little controversial, but I'm standing 10 toes down. This is one of my favorite cars on this entire list, especially for the price. 40 grand, BMW i8. I mean, looks-wise, this is one of the coolest, most spaceship-looking cars ever made. The butterfly doors, absolutely insane futuristic styling. It's one of the most unique-looking cars on the road, even now, 12 years since BMW first released it. Now, the driving experience is, of course, part of why this car gets so much hate. It's got a 1.5-liter 3-cylinder engine in the back and an electric motor in the front. That tiny of an engine on something that looks like a supercar and originally retailed for 150 grand, I can see why people are upset. And it's not the most exhilarating car to drive, but I owned one for a while, and it's a very comfortable drive. It's not as slow as you'd expect from all the hate that these get. The electric motor puts in some work. I took mine on a couple road trips. It's a plug-in hybrid, so it's great on gas. I probably wouldn't pay 150 grand for one, but now that they've come down into the 40s, they make for a really cool, daily drivable sports car. Now, for what this car says about you, that's the second reason why these get so much hate. This is the cheapest way to get into something that looks like a supercar, so naturally, it attracts LARPing. Online, this is known as the fake flexing car. People associate the i8 with SoundCloud rappers, influencers looking to appear more wealthy than they really are. But if you can get past that stigma, you get yourself an incredible car, especially for the price. What would you rate this car?
I'm not a big Porsche fan, so I'm gonna go like with 6.
What would you rate your car?
I think my car is pretty unique. It's an i8, so I'll give it a 7.5.
Now, in order to squeeze into some of the cars on this list, you're gonna have to analyze quite a bit of listings. So I'm using the sponsor of today's video, Perplexity Computer, to create a tool that analyzes car deals in seconds. The Shrewd Negotiator, 5,000. Perplexity Computer is a system of fully functioning AI agents that can write and execute code, execute workflows, and operate the same interfaces you do. Check this out. I'm just gonna describe my desired outcome in plain English here. Computer reasons, delegates, searches, builds, codes, and then delivers the final product. You can use voice or text to speak to it and create any changes you need. And the cool thing about Perplexity Computer is that it's multi-model, so it finds and uses the best models for specific tasks to achieve whatever it is you need. Okay, here's the final result. I can input a car, fill out some details, and boom, it gives me a range of how much I should pay, common issues with the car, questions I should ask the owner, and potential angles for negotiation. There's a calculator here to see what the most expensive car you can afford is, even a little game where you can get a random fun car at each budget. Incredible. I can't believe how quick it was to build this. It's like having a highly capable employee that's always available and can complete real tasks. Feel free to check out the Shrewd Negotiator 5000 and build your own tools using Perplexity Computer through the link in the description. At 50,000, you should probably just go buy some low-cost index funds. But if you're gonna blow it on a car, you can get a really nice C7 Stingray, a 718 Cayman, or you can buy what is often referred to as the pinnacle of driver-focused sports cars, a BMW M2 competition. This car looks well balanced. It's really not the flashiest car, but it's very proportionate, aesthetically pleasing, and kind of aggressive. BMW didn't really take a lot of design risks here. Pretty much anyone can get behind this. It just looks good, especially in this color. However, most people aren't buying these for the looks. The BMW M2 is the smallest M car in size, but it still has a good amount of power, which is a recipe for a pretty impressive driving experience. This thing handles well. There's like no body roll. The brakes are excellent. It's shifty. This is a driver's car. And when it comes to optics, this is kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum from the BMW i8. The i8 is known to be a bit of a flexer car, while this is the most if you know type of car out of the M lineup. You make 100 grand on TikTok, you're buying a G80 M3 M4. This is a car you'll find true BMW enthusiasts driving, and I think it gets a lot of respect anywhere it goes. What would you rate this car?
Isn't that your old car?
That got repossessed, bro.
Oh, okay. Probably like a 5 out of 10.
What would you rate your car?
7 out of 10.
Do you think others would agree?
No.
Fellas, I'm not even gonna ask you to hear me out. I'm just gonna apologize in advance. I did choose the TikToker Miami car for the 60K mark. I just can't believe that you can pick one of these up for 60,000. The Chevrolet Corvette C8 is so much car for the money. At this point, there's a ton of these on the road. People have kind of gotten used to them, but I still do a double take anytime I see one. Chevy just absolutely cooked with its design. Yeah, you can say it's kind of flashy. Oh, it's a wannabe supercar. End of the day, it looks incredible. Both the exterior and interior is so well done. This was my first time driving one of these, and I'm impressed. From all the hate these get, I didn't expect it to drive as well as it does. Shift smooth, almost too smooth, like you can barely feel it. I almost wish it kind of tossed you around a little bit. But I love this interior. It's very driver focused, and it actually kind of feels premium. You get this really cool SpongeBob square steering wheel, and at least from what I've heard, these are also pretty reliable, with some referring to them as the reliable version of a Ferrari. But unfortunately, people may assume that you're either having a midlife crisis or smoking crypto forex, or both. Kind of a similar perception to the i8 when it comes to this car, but if you can get over that, wow, this thing is great, and a used one is like one of the best deals on the car market right now. And honestly, no one actually cares. All the hate these get kind of stays online. In the real world, most people love it. This thing is really cool. What would you rate this car?
On fun to drive, I'd rate that a 10. On overall car, I'd say an 8.
And what would you rate your car?
I would surprisingly rate it a 10. I wasn't a big Corvette fan before, but after getting into this, it's a whole nother animal.
Do you think others would agree?
I think once they got in it and drove it and put a smile on their face, they definitely would.
At $70,000, you have an overwhelming amount of options, so it might make sense to go with something that you're not likely to regret. And this is kind of the sports car. If you ask someone on the street to draw a sports car, they'd probably draw a Porsche 911. The absolute classiest of cars. And looks-wise, I mean, there's nothing to critique. This is kind of the gold standard of sports car design. It is more elegant rather than flashy or aggressive. It's definitely timeless. The steering feels incredibly precise, just straight point and shoot. There's a reason why the 911 gets so much hype. This thing is an absolute joy to drive. Now, as far as what it says about you, I mean, everyone respects the 911. No one sees one on the road and thinks, ugh, a 911. The only place you can go wrong here is if you make it your entire identity and become a bit of a Porsche snob. What would you rate this car?
Believe it or not, is that the normal C8 or is that the Z06?
It's the normal.
I would give it an 8.
And what would you rate your car?
9.5.
$80,000. That's a down payment on a house. You can get the forbidden vehicle, a G82 M4, or you can get the best sounding car in the world, really. The Mercedes-Benz AMG GT. Looks-wise, I personally love the long hood design. It's very exotic, very unique. I guess it's not for everyone. Some people say they don't like it, but I mean, just look at this thing. It's the perfect juxtaposition of brutal aggression and classy Mercedes elegance. It has a twin-turbo V8, which again, just sounds incredible. It just sounds like a lion growling. It's actually really fast. It does not feel as heavy as you think. Before getting in, I kind of assumed that this would drive like a muscle car, but the handling is very sporty, very precise. The price range for these does start in like the high 50s, which is an absolute bargain, but you do have some specs and examples that climb up to 80. Stereotypes, it might be a bit of an unkmobile, an older gentleman car, which also kind of gives it a James Bond vibe. I won't lie, I felt very cool, very mysterious driving this thing around. What would you rate this car?
Oof. Base 911, like 6.
What would you rate your car?
Like 8.5, 9.
At $90,000, you can get into something very special. I don't know if it's even fair because this is technically a supercar, not a sports car. But for 90 grand, you can buy a piece of history, a pre-LP Lamborghini Gallardo. An absolutely epic car. You get the iconic Lamborghini wedge silhouette with a massive front headlight. It's super wide and low to the ground. The design has really held up. 20 years since it's been released. You take a look at this car, it still looks incredible. I bought a crashed one, and after repairs, I was into it in the low 60s, but the one I'm inside today would actually be worth a lot more than 90. This is a very special Gallardo as it comes with a... Now, driving an automatic Gallardo, because it's a single clutch V10, I've never driven anything like it. It's so harsh and mechanical, it genuinely feels dangerous. Such a unique, exciting analog experience, and this manual version is all of that amplified. Now, you'd think with this being the cheapest way to get into a Lambo that it would attract a lot of LARPing and flexing, but from my experience and ownership, the Gallardo is a true enthusiast car. Because of its almost classic status at this point, it gets a lot of respect. You don't see many of these on the road. I'd argue that this has less of that streamer Instagram Lambo stigma that, say, a Huracan may have. What would you rate this car?
I'm gonna give that a 7.
And what would you rate your car?
I'd give it a 9.
Do you think others would agree?
I don't think so. It's a little bit old, but they should agree because it's got...
And for $100,000, you can purchase what many of the top automotive scientists agree is the best driving sports car ever made. They've solved it. We've reached AGI when it comes to vehicles. I'm of course referring to the 981 Porsche Cayman GT4. It's pretty aggressive with the low front end and the wing in the back, but it still looks kind of fun. It's truly the most well-balanced driving experience you could have. It just hugs the road, feels nimble. The handling is incredible. What would you rate this car?
That's probably a 8.
What if I told you it's a...
Maybe an 8.5.